One of the moments I felt like I was so happy that I made that choice, not just for me, for my daughter.
What did your family think when you said, I want to be a psychologist?
My family is a kind of family that empowers women to go work. My daughter is 8 years old. So 2 years ago, I remember she was going through a very, let's say, big emotions. And I was seeing in her eyes, she wasn't sure what's happening to her.
Who do you think should not become a psychologist? Welcome to the Wellness Hub. This is Feminine Power, and I'm Dr. Ola. Pleased to be joined by Saeeda Almarzooqi, who is a licensed psychologist, to talk about feminine power. And especially, we're going to talk about how to become psychologist in the UAE. Welcome, Saeeda.
Thank you, Dr. Ala. I'm so pleased to be here today with you.
Thank you. It's my pleasure also to have you here with us. Saeeda, I was thinking about the culture a lot and the UAE, let's say 10, 15 years ago. I feel it's very different to what it is now. Then I thought, okay, you got your license, you got your degree probably 5 years ago, 6 years ago.
Oh, 2022?
2022,
Yeah.
right? So I feel it was the time still where psychology was picking up. I was so curious. How did you choose psychology? At that time, I feel it wasn't as open yet in maybe people's mindset or mentality. I hear lots of stereotypes regarding psychology. So, how did you come to the point where you thought, okay, I want to do psychology?
Okay, first let me correct the information. It was 2020.
Yeah,
Okay,
2020.
not 2022.
Yeah.
Well, it was an interesting journey for me. I studied in Zayed University my bachelor's in children, youth, and family services. And the sole reason was because I love working with children.
Right.
And people told me that's a nice program for you to start with. We did not have psychology bachelor's back then. And I did not have much information about what does it mean, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I was so privileged and I think lucky to work in a hospital, a children's hospital, specialty hospital.
Was it Al Jalila?
Yes, that's true. I was in Al Jalila.
Mm.
And I worked with an amazing team, the mental health team, where they had a psychologist on the team.
Right.
And this is where I understood what does it mean to be a psychologist. When I started, I was a social worker, right? And with the degree I had, there was no path. So it was my choice whether I want to be a social worker, psychologist, or even a counselor. And from the degree, I can work with children, youth, or elderly families. So I was so lucky to work with a psychologist and understand does it mean. I knew some girls who knew from the start this is what they want to do, but for me, I think it was different. But again, all I knew that I want to work with kids. That was my passion. Children and adolescents.
And you felt it in your heart?
I felt it in my heart.
And what did you do with that feeling in your heart?
So I wanted to be a legit psychologist. I felt like I need to do something extra so I would give and benefit people as much as possible. And that was through having my master's. Right. So in to become a licensed psychologist, to be specialized. And in that time, I started to get so passionate about trauma work. Mm-hmm. I knew this is what I want to get help the kids with, families as well, parenting, trauma work, supporting them. That's how my first step to reach that point is to get licensed. I cannot get licensed without the master's.
Yes, and it's a big, big question, I think, here, especially for local students. That's what I'm seeing from them, right? Yes. How do you get licensed? So you needed masters.
Yes, that's the most important thing. And then by then, I started my journey in UAEU. They had masters in clinical psychology. And luckily, I was so lucky to have it. Like the courses were like once per week. It was during the weekend in the beginning, and some I think cohorts were before like I started, but not long ago, right? Mm-hmm. And I started. It took a bit longer than expected because I became a mom.
Of course. So how long did it take you to do your master's?
With the whole pregnancy, having a
Yeah.
child, I started in 2016, so around 4 years,
Yeah.
and because it was part time mainly.
Yeah, so the program was flexible enough to allow you
Yes,
to
yes,
accommodate all these
yes.
changes.
The
Yeah.
full time takes around 2 years,
Yeah.
but I had to stop midway.
Yeah.
And the program, the professors were very much accommodating and
Right.
understanding.
Right. So once you became pregnant, it didn't stop you. You didn't think, okay, because we know what pregnancies are like, right? It's
Yeah,
so much demand on the body, on the mind, on
yeah.
everything. You didn't stop.
I had to physically because the pregnancy was
Mm.
difficult, but I kept going until the professor, I remember one of them told me, I think you need to take a stop, make a, take a
A
time.
pause.
Yes, to pause, not to stop,
Mm.
yeah, to pause and then come back whenever you're ready. And I think now reflecting back, I was so brave. And luckily I had a good support system
Yes.
that after having an infant, I went back.
So who was within your support system? Who helped?
My family, obviously. My husband was a big support.
Yeah.
He's the one who used to drive me back and forth.
Yes.
And even before getting married, my father used to take me back and forth. And he's like, I'm
Yes.
not going to let you
Yes.
drive to Al Ain.
Yes.
And he used to wait
Yeah.
and wait for me there and come back.
Yeah, oh my goodness, like how we talk about feminine power, we talk about women in education, but without the support system, without a man also who is open minded, who is
So true.
supportive enough, right, to enable all of this happening. So always someone in the background who
Yes,
supports.
so true. Even like my parents-in-law, my family-in-law, they were so supportive to take care of my daughter.
Right.
She was an infant,
Yeah.
and when I went back, so that was very helpful.
Yeah. Has the thought ever crossed your mind? I'm gonna stop my degree? And no, never.
Like that's what I'm reflecting now. Is like how I kept going. I remember I even cried when the doctor told me I need to stop for a while to take a pause. I cried because I had it's not the best thing to do, by the way, but I had like a specific timeline for myself.
Yes.
And I felt like I'm not following that timeline.
And I hear many people do that, including
Yeah.
myself. It's like that expectation or that timeline that you think, okay, by this time, I have to.
Exactly,
Right?
exactly.
But do you think it's helpful?
No, not really.
Why not?
I believe there is always a reason. Like things happen for a reason. And I think it's just my timeline. There is no like a benchmark or anything to it. It's because of my expectation.
Yeah.
And it did not it did not benefit me much as it hurt me sometimes.
Right. So it's just more putting more pressure, perhaps, right? More hurting than benefiting.
And when I go back and try to get the evidence to prove that it
Yes.
was not helpful, I see, yes, I did well. I graduated, I worked, and I did my justice for my kids as well. So I think it's
I hear you.
yeah.
And with this timeline, I also feel sometimes we get so involved in our own reality that we kind of disconnect from what's happening around us, and then we are out of the flow.
Yeah.
So sometimes even if it's taking longer or something needs to be adjusted, it's still okay because it's that bigger picture that we are part of.
Yes.
Right? Okay. So these expectations didn't help. What did help? What helped you when you were going through the time? Was there any thoughts, any technique, anything that you were engaged in that when you look back, you think, okay, that was really helpful for me?
Specifically with my master's
Yes, and
degree, I think
pregnancy,
it
yeah.
was how eager I was to learn, the passion for the information I was getting,
Yes.
what made me keep going.
Yeah.
Right. And this is what keeps like, okay, I can go back and learn. That's basically usually what drives me to continue my education is like, I want to learn more, regardless if I'm not meeting the deadline or my own expectation, or when I feel like I'm missing out, I see other people maybe in my age, they already had their masters or whatever, but it's like, no, it's not that. It's me trying to learn and get most benefit out of it,
right,
and enjoy my time.
So it's not looking at other people, not competing with anyone else. It's also being flexible about, okay, I cannot meet my own deadline, but it doesn't mean that I have to stop altogether.
Yeah.
Right. So I will adjust. I hear flexibility from you.
Yeah. It's not either or. It's
right. And that passion, you said that you really felt it in your heart.
Yes.
Okay. So you got your degree. Where is the licensing now?
So I got my license from DHA because I was working in the hospital, and it was very helpful to work in a place where they can help you with the licensing, right?
Yeah.
And that worked beautifully. And then first, by the way, I started as an assistant psychologist,
Okay.
and then shifted to psychologist.
Yes.
So even with the licensing, that obviously is different. And that's what should be done. You have
Right.
to start as an assistant
What
psychologist.
are the benefits, Saida? What did you feel? What was good for you?
Well, from my understanding, before, like less than 10 years ago, approximately, for the people who don't have their masters, they used to get involved with,
Right.
clients, but without licensing. So it
Okay.
was my word, it was not very ethical, right?
Mhm.
And there are a lot of not worries, like things could happen, and you're not protected,
Of
as
course.
the client is not
Yeah.
protected. So I thought that was very nice of them, from the government, to work on, like, okay, let's have a
Yes.
license for the assistant psychologist.
Mhm.
And obviously there were like scope of work, things that we can do.
Yeah.
And it worked beautifully to prepare me to be independent as a psychologist.
Yes.
From different perspectives, including the supervision, the mentorship
Yes.
that comes, luckily, again, came from Al Jalila.
Right. So, as an assistant psychologist, you could start working immediately after your master's degree. Is this right?
So you can, but again, it depends on, even with bachelor's, by the way, you might
Yes.
get assistant psychologist
License.
license.
So this is as a Emirati applying for the
Yes.
for the license,
Yes,
right?
and even non-Emiratis,
Even
yeah.
non-Emiratis
But if
also have this.
I think it's better. Yani, if we want more information,
Yeah.
we can get to check with the DHA.
Sure, of course.
But from my understanding, that
Yeah.
it's not just about the degree; it's also how many years of experience do you have.
Okay.
So that plays a role as well.
Prior to applying for the license.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes. And the level of engagement with the client differs for assistant psychologist and a psychologist. So back then, I was just observing. I was doing the intake assessment, I remember, with the parent only, not with the child. And then we had also a lot of supervision, a lot of discussion with the clinicians.
And this was in hospital.
In the hospital,
Yeah.
yes. And all of that in order to prepare us moving forward.
Okay.
But without the psychologist license, we couldn't do the whole,
Yes, I
getting
understand.
involved with the
And
clients.
only after assistant psychologist licensing you could apply for a full psychologist position.
Yes.
Right after. When did you apply?
When I finished my master's, and I don't remember exactly the years of experience I should have. I think it's from 3 to 5 years of experience. And then I became qualified to become a psychologist.
Was there an exam at the time? How did the licensing? There was an exam that
there
you
is
had
an
to
exam.
pass.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, and you had to prepare with the baby. How old was it? Your daughter was born?
Yes.
Yeah, your daughter.
She was around, if I'm not mistaken, 3 to 4 years old.
Okay.
And again, the support system, the excitement, the passion, I think, and obviously the support from the hospital and the team was very helpful. So I remember I failed the first time, and I'm not ashamed to say that.
And I'm grateful that you do share because it matters. Because again, once people fail, they feel the test. They feel I failed, right? But it's not how it is. So again, you kept going.
Yes, I kept going. I retook the test, and alhamdulillah, I passed. I got the license. So I was super excited and happy.
Of course, well done. So, stay-at-home mom or working mom? Did these thoughts come to your mind?
Well, I tried stay-at-home mom as well.
Okay.
And I had my second boy. I was pregnant with my boy, 2021, around that time. And I stayed at home for health reasons.
Yes.
I think working mom, but I hope one day we'll reach a point where we had that flexibility to be at home for a while or have that flexible hours, because it was helpful. I needed that time with my kids, with Hamda, and being pregnant wasn't easy. And to tell you the truth, I always felt that voice in my head saying, I need to work, I need to do something. And maybe for some people, myself, also is I connected with self-worth, which is not very healthy. But I think this is why a lot of women feel like they need to do something, because we reach a point where like we matter if we do something.
Where am I, right? It's part of the identity,
Exactly,
perhaps,
exactly.
for many people also, right?
Exactly.
And for some, motherhood is the identity that is sufficient in itself, but for some, there's also other things that they feel that they would like. What did your family think about that?
My family is a kind of family that empowers women to go work, which is nice. They kept telling me, go back, it's fine, we're here. And I had my son, and then I went back to work. But again, I think we should normalize the concept of women staying at home, not to see that they have to do something in order to fill their day, basically.
Right. So it's not like you have to have these two opposite extreme choices. It's either you staying at home with your kids or you just leave your kids and go. Because again, feelings of guilt, right? When you're not there with your child, this is also understandable. So what I hear you say is the need for some system where you are either allowed to work from home, or perhaps work environment could be changed in a way where you could have your child with you, at least for some part of the day.
Exactly. Or shorter working hours.
Or shorter working
I think, in the beginning of, usually what I believe is the beginning of the day where I can sit with my child. I don't feel the rush that I need to drop them to school or me going to work. Usually this is where the, the tension happens, or after working hours, or after work, when someone goes, take my child from school, or I miss that time. So this is the two main times that I feel like maybe someday the system will support with that.
Yeah, and I think with voices like this, this is the voice for the system, because the system is supposed to support us, right? We are not supposed to fit into the system.
Yes.
And I'm so happy to see these changes happening, especially in the UAE. Like, look what happened with Fridays, right? Now it's half a day, and Sharjah it's fully off. So there's many things. So I feel, even with women, and now recognizing that they are not just housewives, that they are actually shaping the generations, future generations, right? Like even giving the title. It's a huge shift in the mentality, which I just love every bit of myself. Just absolutely love it. So what did your family think when you said, I want to be a psychologist? What do they know about psychology? Your parents, different generation.
Yeah, they still ask me, so what do you do exactly? And I understand it's not in a bad way, but I love that they know I love supporting and helping kids, and I feel this is exactly what I would love to be known, or to be known with. They were so supportive. They were not against it. They were very they used to say. My mom used to say, I knew from the start your calling is to support kids, because since you were like 8 years old, you were like magnets to the kids, the younger kids. They love to come sit next to you. They talk to you. Even growing up, my nieces, my nephews, wherever I go in a social gathering, you see the kids coming to me. And to be honest, this is where I feel myself the most, when I'm around the kids. And so she was like very happy that this is something I wanted to do.
How about your dad?
Same. He loves it, and he always asks me, so what do you do? What kind of cases do you see? And how does that make you feel? I think he's sometimes worried that the cases I'm seeing might affect me. But I always reassure him, like, obviously self-care, and I'm doing a lot in terms of that. And at the same time, I feel fulfilled when I'm seeing someone is being supported and helped, even parents.
What would you say is the most difficult part of becoming a psychologist here was for you?
Well, if I can be truly honest with you, is the preconception. I don't know if I can call it a preconception or stigma, whatever it is the quality of our education and our training for not being educated in a Western country.
Right.
So I feel like this is how I'm being judged, just by saying I was educated here, I was trained here. The look in people's face makes me sometimes even doubt myself.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel this is the struggle, the fight I usually
Mm.
take.
Yes.
And it's not nice and easy
Right.
to prove, trying to prove. And I don't have to prove to anyone. It's just the concept of,
Yes.
the quality from a Western trained or
Yes.
educated versus the Emirati and
Yes.
local, right? And it's sad. And I know this is something a lot of other Emirati
Mm-hmm.
psychologists who were educated here went through in terms of employment, in terms of getting more opportunities, and even getting maybe clients. But as you said, things are changing. Like I heard so many people saying, finally, we see Emiratis.
Mm-hmm.
We who can, the whole cultural aspect that we know that even worldwide, and research is saying plays a big role, that we can connect to, we can go to, we can talk to. And I really hope that we have more Emiratis coming, showing up and being around even in clinics, not just in
Mm.
the hospital.
Yeah, I think this is a very good point you're making because we can still see students who are Emiratis who study psychology, but when you go to clinics, centers,
Not much.
it's more Western
Exactly.
educated
Exactly.
people, clinicians who work there.
Yeah.
And it does sound unfair, especially after putting so much effort and having so much passion. And it's like if you get your education here, what's your future,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Another thing I would add as a struggle is the
Mm.
opportunities in terms of professional development. Like I know, Alhamdulillah, we are a young country. When we compare to other countries, the services and the programs we have here are relatively new, right?
Right.
Comparing to other countries. At the same time, I really hope that we will develop these programs to enhance the trainings that we have. I see myself lucky that I trained in Al Jalila Hospital.
Yes.
And I know some people trained in other places, but I think there is always a place for improvement in terms of the quality of training. I'm eager to learn all the time. And I wish we had programs without me feeling that I'm less than. That's why I'm asking for programs. It's more because I want to enhance myself. I want to learn the ethical way, not in just a random program and say, okay, I'm qualified. And this is, I think, the missing piece that yet to be developed here in the UAE, inshallah.
Yeah, and especially just to build on what you said, especially with some specializations, like we talked about play therapy with you just now, right?
Yeah.
If you want to get certified, I mean, it's not a regulated profession yet in the UAE. So where can you get trained? But if
Exactly.
you work with kids, you do need some kind of certification of that kind, whoever
Yes.
works with children in this manner. So I hear your desire for more CPDs, for more certifications, for more activities that could build you, not
Exactly.
just to say, okay, I'm not good enough, that's why I need it. I mean, everyone needs it.
Yes, exactly. And to be specialized. Like I want to
Yeah.
be specialized in different things. Like how can I
Yeah.
do that in a very well
Yes.
programmed
Yes.
programs that even we talked just now about the play the
Yes.
diploma. It takes 2 years. I'm willing to do that
Yeah.
as long as something makes me certified, probably not just
Of
a random
course.
program.
Of
So
course.
hopefully it will happen.
So with your DHA license, you could work in a hospital.
Yes.
But then you shifted to CDA license.
Yes.
Could you tell us a little bit about your experience with CDA license? I believe there is an exam also.
Yes, there was an exam as well. And again, if I can mention this, it was due to lack of information. And I think also from my part, I was not very aware because the time I stopped, the time I told you in 2022, my 2021, my DHA license expired.
Yes.
And I was not, back then, I was not thinking to go back to in a hospital. I worked in a clinic after the hospital. So I was like, okay, interesting, but I need to take a break now. Anyways, it expired and lack of information, you can say, and maybe I needed to do more research. I did not renew it. I thought I cannot be renewed. And then because I'm not working in a hospital, so I pursue the CDA license.
Right.
I took an exam. I had to apply, obviously, on their system and take an exam. And in the end, there was an oath.
Yes.
So we took an oath from their part.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah. What helped you in your preparation for the exam? Many students ask me these questions. What, could be done to get yourself prepared for the CDA exam?
Um, they have like a manual. I think the main
Mhm.
topics or the areas that we need to prepare for.
Right.
So that helped me a lot. And obviously, I did my own research in terms of books, articles, sometimes even videos you can find online to support you in terms of
Mhm.
understanding or revising basically the different theories and different approaches that they ask in the exam.
Yeah. If you keep in touch with any of your friends, students, peers from the university, do you know how many of them could actually find a job and work in a clinic or a center um, here in Dubai or anywhere else in the UAE?
I think I would love to say more than 50%,
Okay.
up to 70
Yeah,
maybe, and the rest because I'm not sure. But
of
from
course.
what I'm hearing, the
Yeah.
people that I was close to,
Hmm.
they all pursue what they loved and they
Yes.
worked in a different
Right.
clinics or hospitals or
Hmm.
they're trying basically.
Okay, so not bad, right? So
Yeah,
this is
yeah.
still employability
Yes.
rate is still good. What would you advise to a student who wishes to a Marathi student who wishes to do a degree in psychology? How should they approach choosing a degree? What they should be aware of? What is there to think about?
I would say if they start from bachelor's, they would definitely be aware and be mindful and be ready to continue beyond bachelor's.
Mhm.
I think in psychology, we not should not stop with bachelor's. Master's is the minimum. And they would be ready to have 6 years of education,
Right.
right? Another advice I would tell them is to choose their specialty very wisely. It's nice to be a psychologist, but I
Mhm.
think we reached a point where we have different specialty, not just in clinical psychology. And I would advise them to look
Mhm.
around, ask around, talk to their
Yeah.
professors in university, see what they like, what they feel like
Mhm.
they're very much excited about.
Yes.
Try it out, even in research, the
Mhm.
same concept. And even if they decided to continue clinical, to do the same. If they have
Mhm.
different professors with, like, let's say, cognitive psychology or and assessments or research who are interested in
Mhm.
research to go and ask the professors, be involved with them
Right.
so they would know what's the next step for them. Take advantage of these basically knowledge because I think comparing to my time,
Mhm.
mashallah, now the students are more aware. They know
Yes.
more about the different specialties. I even remember one of the students here, the internship, they were like, I want to be a forensic psychologist. The
Mhm.
other one said, I want to be a child psychologist.
Mhm.
So it's nice that they know what they
Yeah.
want and to be more aware and ask around is always helpful to know what's their next step.
Absolutely. I'll just fill in a little gap. So I just want to say that you also work with students right now because you offer internships as part of the Wellness Hub here, right? So you're one of the instructors. And when you think of yourself, did you have a chance to do internships, by the way?
Uh, just the typical for
Typical
masters,
for
yeah,
masters,
yeah.
yeah. So, what would you look in the internship as a psychology student? What would you recommend for students to check before they go and do the internship?
I would check that whatever internship they are applying to, it's more than just a theory based. It's not just
Right.
sitting and listening to different people talk about the things they
Yeah.
already know, and to be more hands on, to do role play, and most importantly to talk about ethics. I was again too. I think I was privileged in Jalila as part of the internship. Beyond the
Mhm.
practical aspect, they used to talk to us about the ethics, how it's important to be
Right.
ethical in your work, what is okay, what is not okay, when to know your boundary. It's
Mhm.
okay to make, not to be sure and ask questions.
Yes.
I think that played a big role, and I hope whoever like is looking for an internship to know that that place will give them the same depth.
Yes.
and to be uncomfortable. So through role playing, through asking questions, that's completely important.
Yeah, because what you're describing, ethics, right? It's part of who you are. And this, once you're a psychologist, it's not something you read from the book only and then that you just deliver it,
Exactly.
right? It's who you are. So what I hear from you, you're saying that you need to be aware of ethics, to develop your own ethics and embody it in
Yes.
your work also. So when you think back to your early experience in psychology, were there certain mistakes that you would feel, okay, this is very common for everyone to make, including me?
Um, I would say mistakes. I would say when I had self doubt, when I remember a few times I said I cannot do this. Now I see it's fine. It's because I had so many, I was anxious.
Yes.
So I think that's okay, completely okay. Mistakes were obviously including report writing.
Yes. It happens.
It
It happens
happens.
more often than people think.
Exactly. And I would love to say this is again like a semi advice
Mm.
as well, is to be open for feedback.
Yes.
I've been hearing a lot about some people, unfortunately, who do not take feedback. They believe they know it all,
Mm.
even in terms of getting new information, or even in supervision. I've been hearing around that some people like, why do I need supervision? I know I'm fine. I was like, no, you
Yes.
cannot, especially in psychology as a
Yeah.
psychologist. I think in psychology, we are all long life
Yeah.
learners, right? So I think it's very important. I believe it's very important that we always be open for supervision,
Yeah.
for feedback. That is
Yeah.
including the
Yeah.
obviously report writing and having building
Yes.
the rapport with the
Yeah.
clients and following these kind of
Yeah, I love
things.
what you're saying because it's like just accepting that no one is perfect, including yourself, and
Exactly.
just be seeing yourself as a human through the process that, okay, I also make mistakes and be
Yes.
aware of it and not kind of hide it somewhere. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's as you said, we are lifelong learners, and that starts with us also as a psychologist.
Yes.
Who do you think should not become a psychologist?
It's a very hard question. I'm a believer of everyone can do what they want to do as long as they have the
Yeah,
skills and again they're
yeah,
open to learn.
yeah.
I think should the person who should not be a psychologist is the person who believes they know it all.
Right.
They think that they have everything, they know everything, and the people who are not open to people's perspectives,
Yeah.
they're not willing to be in other people's shoes.
Yes.
The people who think they're here to fix,
Mm.
they're just here to fix, and judgmental, always trying to get what's wrong with the other person. I don't think these should be
Yeah.
psychologists.
I hear you. So, how would you say psychology changed yourself, if in any way, the way you are as a woman, the way you are as the mother, anything else in your life?
Oh, that's a deep question. Okay, made me understand myself, my young self
Yeah.
more. And I think that's the same case for so many psychologists I worked with and I,
Yeah.
uh, you know, talked to. Is like there is always a reason what made
Yeah.
us. It could be our own life experience, someone else's experience, which is amazing. It's made me do something, you know. And I always said I want to be that person to a young child, to be there to support them. Like maybe
Yeah.
sometimes I needed when I was a child.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So that helped me a lot to understand myself. And it took more than 6 years, that's for sure. Um, to say that's okay, whatever I went through as a child, it's not my fault or it's normal, right?
Yeah.
So it's very interesting. At the same time, it helped me to be, I think, a better mom.
Mm.
I love how it empowered me to stop a person, whoever has a different opinion, or
Mm.
talking to my child and take a moment with all the bravery in the world and
Yes.
not just to shut them down, is just to
Mm.
explain to them and
Mm.
look at my child
Mm.
and try to support
Yes.
them. Not just for my kids, even the kids in the
Yes.
other places I know, like the
Yes.
places I work in. It's the same concept. I feel empowered. I feel like
Yeah.
this is giving me the strength to talk and advocate for the young children.
And I feel it from you as you talk. There's so much passion and there's such a strong spirit behind it. Yeah. And
Yeah.
lots of empowerment. I can see you talking to that person
Oh, yeah.
in the personal life. Or here also, when we work with parents, sometimes it is also needed to tell the parent that, look, this is how things
Yes.
need to be if we are working together.
Yeah.
Right. So I hear you embodying that voice. It's a
Yeah.
very strong, powerful voice.
Yeah. Do you mind if I share a story? You can
Please
cut it
do.
if you don't need it.
Please do.
One of the moments I felt like I was so happy that I made that choice, not just for me, for my daughter. My daughter is 8 years old. So 2 years ago, I remember she was going through a very, let's say, big emotions.
Yes.
And I was seeing in her eyes, she wasn't sure what's happening to her. And before that, we watched Inside Out. So she was aware of the whole emotions
Yes.
thing, right? And I was like, okay, let's just be there for her because I felt the pain in her eyes. She wasn't sure. And I knew it's because she's tired, whatever it is. So I took a moment with her and say, okay, mama, which emotion is now in your head? And moving forward, we continued with that reflection. And in the end, she said, it's I think sadness and happy is on a side in the
Mm.
corner. She's not talking. It's anger, they're taking
Mm.
over, and so on and so forth. After reflecting and trying to calm her down, support her
Mhm.
with that, co-regulate with her,
Mhm.
in the end she looked at me and said, Mama, the mother of all emotions is there and she's hugging the emotions in my
Yeah.
head and they're
Yeah.
happy. And I felt that this way is saying
Mhm.
that, you
Mhm.
supported me.
Mhm.
And it was powerful. I
Yeah.
felt like a very different
Mhm.
feeling. I was like,
Yeah.
yes. And
Yeah.
moving forward, every time now
Mm.
she sees a child who is in distress, she comes to me, aren't you a psychologist? Go talk to them. Even if it's a family member or anyone, you're a psychologist. Go.
I
So
wouldn't be
yeah.
surprised if she becomes a
Yeah,
psychologist
she chose
at some
for
point.
her KG2, I think they
Mhm.
had a career day. She chose to be a psychologist. So she wore a nice pink abaya
There you
and she
go.
wanted to be a child
Yeah.
psychologist. So she had a baby in her
Yeah.
hand and they did a beautiful like a scenario with the
Yeah.
school.
And this is a beautiful story because it shows also, how powerful the adult is in child's life. So since you're working with parents and you're a parent, and I'm sure you know that it's hard for parents also every time to regulate themselves and
Yeah.
the child. Um, is there anything that you could advise to the parents? When would be a good time to come seek a psychologist? When would be a good time just to let go and say, okay, I need a moment for myself and then I'll attend to my child? Anything at all that comes
Oh,
to
there's
mind?
so many. First of all, I would always recommend to be kind to themselves. Adding that layer of judgment of not being a good parent makes a person more agitated. So a lot of us, when we are angry,
Mhm.
if you go back or deep, you'll see that comes from not feeling a good as you're a good parent or feeling sad or anxious, and that's translated to being agitated towards our kids,
Right.
right? So that's the first part, is to take a deep breath and know that this is just I'm just, I'm overwhelmed.
Mhm.
It doesn't mean I'm a bad mom, or it doesn't mean it's about my child per se. Another advice is obviously to normalize going seeking support and help, to give some strategies, to get some
Right.
strategies from the experts, what to do, when to do. And in terms of the self-care, I think the best thing is to explain to my child. Sometimes I say
Mm.
this to my child as well. Sometimes you want to watch TV because you want to relax your
Mm.
mind. Sometimes I need it too.
Mm.
And that makes the child feel safe, that I'm not running away from them.
Right. So you
You're not.
explaining.
Exactly. That's very important.
Mm.
And I do it. It's very important for the parents to take their time for themselves whenever they feel agitated. And again, to ask for support if it's the
Mhm.
partner, the parents.
Mm.
Normalize doesn't mean we're not super moms. doesn't mean I'm not good as a mom. It's mean I'm
Right.
just a human being.
Yes, and it's a lot to do with recognizing your limits and your superpowers, right?
Exactly, exactly.
So, do you feel the local community still hold fears regarding psychologists, in particular child psychologists?
I think there is an improvement. I
Mm.
feel so many changes in terms of that. Even what they think the child psychologist is for is changing now.
Mhm.
Lots of people come to me like, I find it difficult to support my child or
Mhm.
to communicate with my child. That's
Mhm.
nice. It's not. I mean, it's nice in terms of they know it doesn't have to be a big issue for them to go support get the support they need. It's a nice discussion supporting the
Mhm.
parents themselves. So I see the difference, yes. And I think there is always room for improvement. And I think we should go more to the community, provide
Mhm.
platforms or spaces for moms to come and talk to kind of normalize and reduce the stigma even more.
Right, so that people know that they can approach even when there's just communication or just to get
Exactly.
an advice. I
Yeah.
always say, it takes a village to raise a child. So why there should be just one woman?
Exactly.
As a psychologist with over 15 years of experience, I look at my kids and I still say, what am I missing here? I'm sure I'm
Mm.
not seeing something because I'm inside,
So
right?
true.
I'm
So
not
true.
seeing the picture from outside. I have my own triggers, all of that. So for sure, having the team is supportive.
Yeah.
So what can a parent expect from seeing you? What's the process? When they should approach? Generally, what to expect?
When to approach, I think anytime. So even if they want a direction, maybe this is not as kind of service I can provide, but
Mhm.
a direction is also important. So anytime they feel like they want to see someone, that's the right time,
Mhm.
right? They don't question that has to be a legitimate
Right.
reason. In terms of the process, a phone call to the center would be a nice start in
Yeah.
getting the appointment. I can see the parent for an intake. We can have a nice discussion
Without a child?
without the child
Why?
because I want to hear from the parent more, and then I
Mhm.
want to focus with the child later in the next session. But if it's an adolescent, I might use the time also with
Mhm.
adolescent for the intake because obviously they can share a more given input about
Right.
what the challenge or what they need help with. After the intake, after I got all the information needed, I can see
Mhm.
the child. And first thing is to build the rapport,
Yeah.
sorry, is to have that connection with the child because obviously it's not easy for the child
Mhm.
to go to see someone new and to be vulnerable or,
Of course.
to say things that maybe it's hard for them to talk about. So this could take time,
Mhm.
few sessions, but this is the aim for me is to build that rapport for the child to feel safe and to get the information if possible
Right.
about what's challenging for them, and in case we can support, let's say, with
Mm.
some strategies that they can start at
Right.
home also, this is obviously
Yeah.
doable.
And how many sessions should parents expect to have before they can see some improvement in whatever behaviors they are coming with?
I think it depends, but in average 4 to 6 sessions, this
Mhm.
is where we can see the improvement or the changes. But again, it takes time, and I think it's very important for parents and everyone to know that it's never a straight line. With improvements and
Mhm.
therapy, it's never. Sometimes we can see improvement, and
Mhm.
sometimes some regression, and again some improvement. It's like it's a
Yes.
wave, but it is understandable because there are some changes could be difficult for people. At the same time, there are other factors playing part of the whole thing.
Yeah, absolutely. As adults, we find difficult to change, right?
Yeah,
Ourselves. So expect a change from a child in a short time. It's
yeah,
also
exactly.
a little bit unrealistic, I would say. Yeah.
Yeah.
If we talk about women in your life, who shaped you?
Hmm. Um, my mother and my sisters.
Yeah. How?
Uh, I think. Oh, and my grandmother. Um, that combination between care, between being present, between being very strong, brave, did help a lot with who I am right
Yeah.
now. And even as a mom, like I know for my mom, what her values as a mom was very like out there. And I see it in my own values as a mom as well now. The same time to see them um, how they went through so much hardship, but they were able to go through it
Yeah.
and become better and stronger.
Yes.
That sense of resilience
Yeah.
also helped me to be who I am.
Yeah.
So I'm not, saying no, khalas, I don't want to do it. It's too hard for me.
Right. So you just keep going. This is
Keep
the
going.
strength and bravery and
Exactly.
courage. What other values do you think helped them overcome those hardships? And perhaps something that you would like to see or you already have in you and maybe even your daughter?
Values, I think that sense of family, that we can rely on each other, that was very evident in their lives. I think how they were so connected to Allah, that was very also interesting for me and helped me to shape myself, to shape who I am from that perspective. And I think the value of being their true selves, right? And not just to follow with anything that happens, is to be who they are.
Yeah, and it's can be tough a little bit sometimes, most of the time, right? Because you are part in the bigger community, people have expectations for you. So I always admire people who have that sense of, okay, this is who I am, this is from my heart, and I'm gonna follow that.
Yeah.
I'm always curious, how on earth is this possible? And then I hear stories like that.
No, it's just something I was going to say. It's going to be harder for the generations to come, obviously, with everything happening as we were talking earlier. But this is one of the things that I really wish that my daughter can feel, and for her to feel it in her heart, that it's okay to be yourself and not to feel like you need to, as you said, follow an expectation or to be in a certain way. But based on proper values that are important.
And for your son, because you also have a son, what would you like him to know about women? What would you like him to recognize in women?
I would love him to respect women. The other day, my husband was telling him, because he was a bit mad to his sister, my husband was telling him, men do not hit women. So that was out of the respect that I loved, inshallah, my son to know. I would love him to cherish and value the work women are doing, and to show love and care for women in his life, and not to fear showing the love and care for them, and to be supportive, and to know that it's not that he's better than women, and he's there to support women to do what they can do, like the best capabilities in their lives.
It's about union, isn't it? Right. So if, say, parents, and some parents might be watching us, what would you recommend to the parents, how to behave? Any tips of bringing that respect in girls and boys, for men and women? And what can parents do to encourage all those beautiful values?
Well, the first thing, what research says, is modeling. So it's very important to model it at home in terms of respecting each other, respecting the children as well. Not to disrespect in terms of, let's say, the language, the tone we're using, the behaviors, not to disrespect the kids. Some people was like, how can I disrespect my own children? It's again, the same concept applies for adults. So not to do it from a younger age, not to do it to each other. That's the best gift you can give for your child, because they would know this is not normal. It is very abnormal. They haven't seen it in their childhood, right? And to talk to them about what respect is from different perspective. If they want to bring it from an Islamic perspective, good. If they want to come bring it from a value or another religion, that's also very important. And to live it at home, basically. People might think that they don't see the effect immediately, but it does leave an impact on the children. So Yeah, and always model it, always talk to them about it is
Yeah, it
important.
is beautiful because it goes back to self, right? You cannot teach
Yeah,
something that you are not. Yeah,
exactly.
and once you are that and you're working on yourself, you model it to your children. I love this tip. This is, I think, very nice tip. So just allow me to ask you, if you were to think of yourself as a student, or maybe younger self, even just before you became a student, what kind of advice could you give to yourself from where you stand right now?
I think I would tell myself again to be kind to myself, and to not to have high expectations and a time frame. High expectations could be sometimes not good, right? At the same time, to be ambitious, to
Yeah,
want to be better and to know more, is just not to have a time frame and try to stick to it too much to the
yeah,
degree that you're gonna get,
yes.
like you need to follow something that does not that important,
Yeah.
and to slow down. I think that's the opposite that I would love to tell myself, is to slow down
Mm,
and to enjoy the accomplishments, the small steps I'm taking,
mm,
the small wins that I'm
mm,
having on the way. And in the end, that I will tell myself, you're gonna make
mm.
it. So yeah,
Are there any affirmations that you feel from your life supporting in challenging moments?
I would say that it's from again Islam, that the Creator Allah does not put me in a hardship unless He knows that I can do it,
Yes.
and because He's so merciful that He knows if I cannot do it, He will not put me in it, and there everything happens for a reason.
Yes.
So every time I think about that, it kind of gives me that ease that maybe it's not the right time, and maybe, and it's not a punishment. It's actually He's out of mercy,
Yes.
and more beautiful things are coming on my way.
Okay, beautiful. And the very last question, Saida. If a student, if a woman is watching and she really gave up on her licensing, on her dream to be a psychologist, she finds it hard to manage her motherhood and the job, what is there that you could tell her?
I would tell her, take one step at a time, one day at a time. There is no deadline. Whenever she feels ready, she can continue. But it's nice to challenge yourself, so you don't prolong it. Maybe today is hard, but even let's say that was in my case, taking the phone and calling and asking if this is possible, what's the next step I can take? And then that takes another 2 weeks. I'm doing something, right? And also, I would obviously advise is to seek support, ask people to take care of the kids if that's the struggle. Taking time for yourself to sit and think of your next steps. And the most important part is try not to judge yourself and to be kind to yourself. That it is okay. It is part of the process and it's going to happen eventually.
Thank you. And this was The Feminine Power with Saeeda Almarzooqi from the Wellness Hub. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.